So some time back, I did some color grading in Capture One. I used Capture One's tool that was available at that time to create different looks. I went from a basic look and went on ahead to a way more advanced look. But now things have changed. There's been a lot of improvement in Capture One, especially with the AI tools, the AI masking tools, and this has made things even much easier and faster for image processing and color grading inside Capture One. So in this video, I'll be showing you techniques that I use to color grade inside Capture One. We'll be learning how to color grade using the white balance tool, the color editor, the curves layer, the color balance, AI masking, and also working with the Luma range inside Capture One. So watch till the end of this video because you're going to be seeing all the amazing processes that I will be taking to convert this simple image from this to this. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. Let's start with the basic, easy color grading, just normal tidying up your image and just processing it to look good. I will brighten up the image. With the mid-tone range, I push back and bring it back down a little darker. Reason why I'm doing it this way is because I'm trying to add more contrast in the image. 3% on the levels, on the dark part of the levels, maybe not too much highlight. Then I try to pull back to see where I have a good balance of brightness or exposure in the image. But now that I'm done with how I want it to look, let's go ahead with the color grading. With the white balance tool, you can create a look in your image. If you want it cooler, move the Kelvin towards the blue side and then the tints to balance it up. Apply some contrast. This is a green forward color grade. So I would just adjust it a little bit. Just by shifting your white balance, you have a look already. It's a color grade. Don't get confused about this. Color grading requires you using any possible tool you have right within your application just to create your look. With this, I have just created a look just by shifting my white balance and pulling up and adjusting the tint. Kelvin, tint, and then I have a grid. This is before and this is after. We're advancing our look, but this time using other features in Capture One. So now I would balance this color. I'll cool it down a little bit. It's looking a little red, and so I would push my tint. Just the way we did with the first color grade, I'm doing a white balance adjustment again to create my look as a start. This is the look I will go for eventually, but now I can create a bit of this look even using this advanced method. Now come into the color editor. Click on the picker tool and click on a color in your image, selecting the green. Now I'm shifting the hue to make it more brownish to give it a brown feel. Now this is not affecting the entire grass in the image, so I would search to see what else is affecting this grass, and obviously after picking around, I've been able to select the yellow, the color yellow, and I'll adjust color yellow down or up. But I want to make it brown, so I'm going to move hue towards the left side, reduce the lightness a bit, increase the colors to make it much richer. This entire look looks great on the grass, but it's affecting the subject. With Capture One's mask, you can mask out a color grade from a particular area, in this case our subject, our models here, and have it applied only on the background. I'm going to right click on the image and move image layer adjustment to a new layer. Now I no longer have my adjustment in the base layer, the background layer. So now with this new adjustment, I'm going to select subject. With the subject selected, I'll come to this layer, right click it and copy subject mask. You would right click on the same layer and now invert mask. Now with the mask inverted, there's no effect on the subject. We have a mask for the subject alone, and so we can just work on the subject without affecting the background. I would like to improve the exposure on the models. Coming to the curve layer, I will create a bit of contrast. Recover my highlights, pull back highlight, and just like that we've created another look. Say it louder, say it louder. The image is looking quite warm and red. Still using the most simple tools possible available for us here in Capture One. I would do a global adjustment, create a new layer, adjust the white balance, make it cooler. The image is looking cooler than the background, so I'll go into the subject layer and increase the warmth of that. Before and after. I'll call this layer white balance. We're not balancing the image with the white balance, rather we are creating a color grade. I've reset the image, no filter applied to this particular image right now. I'll lift my exposure, add a little bit of contrast, add some more contrast using the levels, come into the color editor, go to the advanced section and just select some colors, green, red. I've selected 3 areas. Now with these 3 areas selected, I'll push one towards blue. This one I would fill it up, leave it in the warm area, and this one I will just rotate it towards this direction. What I want to do now is to use a 3-way color to color grade this image. Pull this all the way to pick all the yellows down to this teal color. Second selection will be more of the reds, and while my third selection will be around the blue area. I will make sure the intersection flows nicely. Come to the hue and start to shift the colors. Now I've shifted this way and then it's created a brown look, the red colors as well. And then I come to the blue. If there was blue in the sky, this is where it will come in handy, where I could have pushed the blue to become more teal. I'm going to copy this adjustment and look for an image that has a blue sky. Paste this. And then now you see how the blue was adjusted. This is how you use the advanced corner of the color editor in Capture One to create a color grade. Finally, I want to do my ultimate color grading workflow. The look I'm aiming to achieve is this editorial type look. I'm not trying to make the colors look natural. I'm trying to make it look very different, very editorial, very fashion style, magazine cover type of color grade. So now I'll go ahead and work on this new image from scratch. Create a new layer, brighten the image up, come to the contrast area and the shadow area of the contrast. I would give it 3, push the highlight slide towards the left and use the midtones to balance it out. I'll go into the shadows, put in a little bit more shadow, recover highlight. I'll check my color balance, type in 5000. If I want it warmer, I might increase my Kelvin size to 56,000 Kelvin. If I want it cooler, I will still warm it up eventually, so 5000 Kelvin is where I want to go with this image. I'll name this layer exposure. Create a new layer. We'll start with the basic color editor tab. Let's pull it out. Label this basic color editor. The green, bring it down towards the warm. The yellow, same thing to make the grasses brown. And that's all I need for this step. Now I want to adjust the skin tone. The skin tone is looking a little bit reddish and I want to balance that out and also desaturate the skin and also enhance it. So come to the pupil layer, click on body, face, pupils, sclera, eyebrow, lips, excluding the hair, and create a mask. With this mask selected, I'll go into skin tone, taking the picker tool to select the skin. Now I will shift the hue. It will affect only the subject or just the skin. I will desaturate this, brighten the skin a little more. There's some red tones in the skin. If you go to the basic section, you can see the orange is not covering the entire skin. So what I will do now is to pull this so that I can cover the entire skin tone and take it out of where we have red. I'll also check yellow and make sure there's no yellow in the skin. And so I'm fine with this selection. I'll apply it. I now have complete control of the skin. So a combination of this skin tone section and the basic color editor tab, the basic section, is how I would get a good color on the skin. I'll go back to the skin tone and just to make sure I balance the saturation, I'll bump the uniformity of the saturation up. I don't have to raise the hue because it's good to have multiple tonalities in your skin. Keep the hue down. Lightness will brighten the image subtly. The uniformity of the black brightness is also something I wouldn't want to touch because I want to have highlights and shadows complementing each other in the image. With this people layer, I'm fine. I would rename this. So that's before and after. Before and after on the skin. Skin color, we have it dialed in. I want to pop the lips a little more and make it different. To do that, I would go to the people layer, uncheck everything except for the lips and create a new mask. Hitting M on my keyboard, I'm able to select to confirm that the lips are selected. So with the lips selected, I would boost saturation and change the color of the lips. I'm using white balance to change the color of the lips. However, there are multiple ways you can still achieve the same result. I can also do it in the basic section using the picker tool to select this color, which says orange, and I adjust the lips and boost the color. I'll create separate masks for this. So a mask for sclera and a mask for pupil and iris. For the pupil and iris, I'll brighten it a little bit, give it some contrast. And same thing with the sclera, brighten it a bit, reduce saturation so that if there's any redness in the image, I'm taking down the redness, I'm bringing down saturation. I'm pulling back to see if I've overdone it. A good color grade is when the image is just seamless. You don't really notice what has happened. Obviously, the lips looks lipsticky, but that's the look I want to go with. But I would bring it down as well. I can bring it down by either reducing the saturation or just coming to the opacity of the image to drop the opacity. I want to add some more texture and dynamism to this image. So I'll go back to my exposure layer and boost clarity a bit. Add a little more contrast also to the image. I want to balance the image. The image is looking too red. So I'll come back to the color, the basic color editor section, which is also working as my white balance or color balance area. And then adjust the tint a bit to make it much cooler. If the image is too warm, it's hard to get the cold colors adjusted. If the image is too cold, then it's difficult to get the warm tones adjusted. So I'll find a balance. So now with these settings, I will now go ahead to really color grade the image and change the entire look. I'll create a new layer. At this point, what you should be doing is pure experimenting with colors to see what works for your image. Now with the curves layer, I would go to the blue section, pop up the blue a little bit, then pull this area down, pull down the blue even from the highlights, go to the red, take the red out of the shadows, push more red into the highlights. You can pull down the highlights as well if you want that look and then push I think I will go with this. I would add more red into the shadows because I want to get a brown feel and then take it out of the highlights. This is a very popular technique with color grading, either with photos or even with film color grading. I'll take green out of the mid-tones, just a little bit, and we have a golden look. I'll create a new layer. This is color separation, selective color, printer light technique. There's a lot of yellow in the image. Come to yellow and desaturate yellow. Orange, desaturate. Red, desaturate the red but not too much. Adjust the lightness so that you can see. For me, I like this red right there, and so I want to still retain that color. So green is a major color in this range, and green and the red. So I would also decrease the green, go back to the yellow and also decrease it. The color separation was, I just used it to subtract colors from the image. This was the before and after. Before and after. If you like the vibrant look, then you can go with the vibrant look. If you don't want the vibrant look, you can either use this technique or you come to the curves and bring it down. The effect is not the same, and that's why I didn't reduce the opacity of the curves. Instead, rather, I created a new layer. If I was to reduce the curves alone, it would take me back to my previous look. So instead of reducing it back, taking it back to the previous look, I took out the colors that were extreme in the image. And now with that taken out, I can now adjust the opacity to see how much of it I want taken down. Again, I use my magic number, 70. I don't know why, it's just my magic number. You can still adjust the colors using the curves, because if you remember, we pushed all these colors a lot to get this warmth, but you can bring back cold, make it cold again by adjusting the blue. But I want the brown. I want this color, and so I'm leaving it this way. This is where we're heading to, and we are almost there. We're almost there. So now to continue enhancing this look, I want to add contrast to this image, and also I want to selectively bring back some colors that I want. So back to the color separation area, pull out a little more yellow from the image. White balance, a little bit of white balance adjustment. A few tweaks here and there with the curves, the color editor, and the white balance. I would be able to dial in the color that I feel is more pleasant to my eyes. I feel the skin tone is looking a little pale. I'll go back to where I have the skin color and readjust it. I want to make the hair darker. I want to take out this color in the hair, the magenta look color in the hair. I could have taken it out in the other process, but I'll use a selective method to do that. Go to the people layer and deselect every other tool and select just the hair. Capture One's AI masking tool is able to read patterns and tell what's hair in your image. We have the hair selected. With this selected, I would now remove this color, take purple out of the image, darken the hair a little more, and that's the look. Finally, to add more contrast to the image, I would create another mask and use the Luma range. I will select the shadow areas of the image, feather it out, apply, go to the curves layer, RGB curves, boost, and contrast. And there you have our final look. This is our before, and this is the after. Let me know what you think in the comments below about color grading using Capture One. Give us some of your tips that you use with color grading inside Capture One, and let people also see and learn from it. Remember to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you on the next video.